So the other day I was telling you I was having some battery issues. So I was having to run the generator more and wasn't making it through the night with electric. So I did some research to try to figure out what I could do to fix the batteries. Now, you know, they're pretty old. I guess they're coming up, I don't know, 6 years old. I mean, they're starting to get old. So I started doing some research, trying to understand what was going on. Now, what was happening was the batteries was shutting off the inverter. The inverter would shut off around, I don't know, 11.6 volts, 11.8 volts, somewhere around there. So I wasn't actually draining the batteries to a critical low state. So there were several nights in a row this happened, and it was always on cold nights. The one time I had the inverter, I accidentally left a big inverter on, so it went off at like 11, or excuse me, 1:30, somewhere around there. All the other times, it was closer to the morning time. So that 1:30 time was the only time I had to get up and actually come down here and start the generator, charge the batteries. But I really didn't want to have to replace batteries. I mean, you know, that's going to be $800 or $1,000 bucks, and I just didn't think I needed to. I've taken really good care of these batteries. I mean, I know they're getting older, and I know they don't have the charge that they used to have. And the thing is 2 or 3 batteries could actually run the house. But as they age, you'll be replacing those 2 or 3 batteries every couple of years. But when I have 8 batteries, you know, it may last 15 years. So I just knew that I wasn't at that stage yet. Now, I've had to replace a couple batteries, completely my fault. Over the summer, I had to replace a battery because I had it hooked up, the well hooked up to basically one battery, the inverter that runs the well. And so it was pulling all that energy from one battery, and all the other batteries were trying to dump into it. Now, I know better than to do that. I did it temporarily and just kind of forgot about it. What you need to do is put your positive cable over on one side and your negative cable on the other side of your battery bank, and that draws the energy all out at the same time. There's another way to do it too, where you would link it to every battery, but that's just a lot of wiring. So again, I really didn't think I was in serious trouble. So like I said, did some research, found out that essentially I was probably wrong in everything I thought I understood about voltage. I was always told by the nomads, actually, you know, the YouTube nomads, that if you got a lead acid battery down by 12.3 volts, down below that you just half the life of your battery. Well, I mean, I knew better than that a long time ago, because I've done it several times. Not on purpose, it just happens. Sometimes, you know, you think, well, especially like when you're transitioning from summer to winter, the days get shorter, and you just don't realize, oh, those batteries aren't making it anymore through the night. And so you'll get down to 11.8 or whatever it is. And I've never hurt the batteries. I've done it several times, you know, probably a dozen times. And they're fine. So I wasn't buying that anymore. Well, it turns out that's not really true. It has to do with voltage and temperature. So let's just say it gets down to 0 degrees. There's a whole chart on how this works, and I'm not going to tell you the chart, but let's just say you get down to 0 degrees and your voltage gets down to 11.8. Well, now you may have damaged the batteries. When you don't have a charge in there anymore, or a low charge, and it gets cold, the batteries can freeze, and so then they damage the batteries. Well, I know I didn't damage the batteries, and the way you can tell is that it will bulge out the battery. Or a cell will go bad, and the battery will be hot. You'll feel the hot. And I felt this over the summer when I damaged that one battery. That battery was just hot. So I came down here, did all the checks, nothing was wrong. Well, then I decided I was going to check the water. And that's where I messed up at. I was checking the water every 6 months, and that's always been fine. But the older your batteries get, and I didn't know this, the more frequently you need to check your water and your batteries. So I had 3 that were low, just on this one side. I had this one, and this one. which really doesn't make sense because I'm drawing the energy and charging the energy from this side and this side. So didn't make sense, but that's what happened. Now you'll see all this mess here. That's baking soda. I use baking soda to keep them covered so the acid doesn't chew everything up. So I filled the batteries, but I still needed to rejuvenate the batteries. What happens is that, I don't know, the acid falls down to the bottom of the batteries. And since these are stationary, they're not in the car, they're not getting shook up all the time as you're driving around. You gotta shake those up a little bit. Now, the battery charger has a rejuvenate or a recondition right here. But I don't always find that to work. It works sometimes, other times it says it's rejuvenated and they're not. But what I learned is I can rejuvenate it with solar panels, and it's basically, it has no choice but to do it because I told it to do it. So what I did was, these are the charge controllers. I got two of them, one for 6 battery panels and the other one's for 6 panels. So what happens with these is electricity comes into the shed here from the solar panels into the charge controller, gets moved around on how to control the charge, and then into the batteries. So into the controller, out to the batteries, or both of them. And these are pretty nice. These will take excess volts that your panels are making, because my panels actually make 20 volts, and convert it into amps. It's really nice, so you don't waste any electricity like you did in the old days when I first was playing with these 20 years ago. So you can control how much charge you're getting into your batteries through these. Now this inverter will not run if the batteries are over 14.3 volts. You'll get a red light and it shuts off. Or I guess you get a red light and it squeals. That's what it does. It may shut off. Yeah, it kind of hiccups, I guess is the best way to put it. Turns off, turns back on, turns off. So I set these at 14.3 volts. You should actually set them like 14.4, but I got it at 14.3, so that the inverter doesn't shut off. But if I want to recondition, all I have to do is ramp the voltage up on these. So I ramped it up to 15.5. And essentially what that did was it started boiling the water in the batteries. And I did it all day long for the rest of the day. I think I started at 11 o'clock. And by 3 o'clock the sun was going down. So when we lost the sun, I went ahead and brought these back down to 14.3 just so I wouldn't forget. But my batteries were holding a charge. The batteries were holding a charge at 12.8, which is exceptionally well. So there was no load on this. I was running a generator. The house was running off the generator. There was no load. So at 12.8, that's like a brand new battery. That is exceptionally well. And it was holding that charge for several hours. So, put a load back on it. And then that night, I ran it all night long because the freezer was, I ran the generator all night long because the freezer was running. And I didn't want to do an experiment on these batteries while the freezer was running because we just put some meat in it. It had to freeze. So it takes a while for the meat to freeze in that freezer. Next time it gets down below, I don't know, 20 degrees, we're going to take the meat out and we're going to defrost that freezer because that's what our biggest problem is there's so much ice in there now that it just runs so much. So we'll but if we take the meat out when it's below 20 degrees, that meat won't thaw out. We can thaw out the freezer, clean it up, turn it back on, bring the meat in, and it won't cause a big problem. So anyway, that night I let the generator run. But I have let this run every night since. Now it has not gotten down to the temperatures that we were at, 17 degrees. It has gotten down into the 20s. And the batteries have been at 12 volts every morning when I got up, 12 volts. Now like I said in the past, 12.3 would have been something I was going for, but these are older batteries now, so 12 volts is fine. And if we ever get too cold, it won't freeze at 12 volts. So I feel like I must have fixed the batteries. So every 3 months or so, I'm going to boil the batteries. I'm going to turn these back up to 15 volts, run the generator, and just boil off the batteries. I wish I'd have known about this sooner, because what happens is that this stuff kind of calcifies to the plates, and the plates thin over time and all that stuff. If I'd have known this at the beginning, which I just didn't, I would have done this every 3 months ever since I had them. Everybody says that these batteries won't last very long. I've had nothing but success with them, but on the other hand, I don't neglect them either. And I know a lot of people with lithium-ion batteries, they want the batteries just to work. They don't want to have to think about it. And I always call them the lazy off-gridders. I've talked about them before. They want everything in automatic mode, like they're living in the city. I don't care about that. I just make sure that these batteries are charged up to at least 13.6 volts every day. I try to get it to 14.3, and I've never failed at that, actually. I've always gotten it to 14.3. But if for some reason I couldn't, I want to make sure I get it to 13.6, because every day you are below 13.6 volts, like the truck hasn't ran in a week, so I'm damaging that battery a little bit each day. Well, I don't do that. And I don't run them dead all the time. I try to maintain them, make sure that they got water in them. Now I know that they're going to boil. So they've lasted a long time. And I just don't think, you know, all these experts with batteries, there are experts out there on solar panels and batteries and all that. What they're not experts on is lead acid batteries. Everybody seems to think lead acid is a mystery, and it's not. They're just not hard to do. You just got to make sure they're charged all the time. If you put a trickle charger on this battery and just left it for years and years and years, it would never go bad. Well, the same thing. Now they'll say, well, there's only like 1,000 cycles or 1,200 cycles. Okay, well, I'm well past that. I'm still not having problems. You know, and people skimp. That's the other thing. They skimp on how many batteries. I got too many batteries to make sure that I always had plenty of power, so I wasn't struggling on the good days. You know, you struggle on the bad days. Okay, that makes sense. It's cloudy. It's a bad day. It's cold. It's a bad day. But on a good day, you don't want to struggle. You want to be sure that, you know, okay, the sun's going to come up. Batteries are going to charge. I don't have to think about it. So that's why I got so many batteries. So if you'll click this up next box, take the video over to my other channel, I would appreciate it. Go check it out. So if I can inspire you to maintain your stuff so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.